right, friends, welcome back to Figure It Out podcast, where we go through the winding river of life. On today's episode, we'll be discussing with our good friend Mike Luna. Mama Tish is going to introduce him. Take it away.
All right, friends. So we have the one and only Mr. Mike Luna, awesome gentleman that I had the pleasure of bumping into, essentially, at a lovely eating establishment. So Mike Luna is a recent college graduate with a bachelor's degree in psychology with current motivations to start graduate school in the spring. Graduating 12th of his class with a 3.92 GPA and being a Percocet away from a heroine 7 years ago points all evidence towards a spiritual revolution within his mind, body, and soul. He was born and raised not to beat the odds. He has potential solutions to change the world as we know it, because if we don't get real serious real fast, it's going to get real serious real fast.
Whoa.
Welcome to the show, Mike. How are you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am honored to be in position to be able to express my gratitude to just humanity within the whole, but also being great privilege and humility to be able to explain my story and how I've overcome um, the battles of everyday darkness, which a lot of people are suffering from today. So it's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not a problem. So when I met you, what you wrote, you saying being a Percocet away from heroin, like that was what really drew me to you. And especially because for the everyday person, we know what an addict looks like. They portray them on TV, but you definitely don't look like one. And you have the great personality of positivity. So that was something that definitely drew me to you. So can you explain to the people, if you're comfortable enough, how did you even get in that position of an addict?
Well, this has been far too common over my 7 years of leaving mind altering substances alone. I transitioned straight from a drug rehabilitation center to the Community College of Philadelphia back in 2016, where I originally found so much understanding um, away from typical rhetoric, ideology, stereotypes of what chemical dependency looks like.
Okay.
Um, for me, growing up as a child, I was subject to having voids that uh, most of our daily civilization lives with today. And as a child, I was raised within voids to think that those voids were my fault that I didn't have what everyone else around me had. And that was in the aspect of family. That was in the aspect of nurture versus nature. That was in the aspect of having positive male influence in my life. Um, in the aspect of even having a father and grandparents I never had. I come from a small family where the answers that needed to be answered never got answered. From the
Okay.
aspect of what I deserved from my mother, who was the only family I did have growing up. Those questions weren't answered, and I came to Philadelphia at the age of 19, I think, no, 20, seeking independence. I'm originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I came to Philadelphia. Was transitioned from the situation that I was running from, and came to Philadelphia trying to seek independence as a 19-year-old in a homeless shelter. Two trash bags. I didn't understand what was in front of me until I got knee deep in the heart of Kensington and
Mm,
Allegheny, and knee
okay.
deep in Philadelphia around traumatic experiences and undiagnosed mental health disorders and just everything that we're suffering from as a whole today in society. Finding that, let me tell you how it went from humanity to um, civil discourse. It went to from just
Mm,
me blaming the world for my problems and never seeming to understand the true power that I possessed within myself to have willpower and determination and me being a human being, to have my own sovereignty, to make the own decisions that I needed to make. I wasn't receiving what I thought the world owed me. So then I had to blame someone. And for a long time, I blamed myself for that. Now, 7 years looking back, that blame and that turmoil and that guilt take a lot of people to a place that they can't come back from. And it's hard seeing anything when you're at a dark space where dying feels better than living.
Wow.
Where you're not living, you're actually dead, just
Right.
walking. From a substance perspective, from a psychological perspective, from a victimization perspective. There's so many different forces that are easily persuade the mind,
Right.
that there's no other way besides this way, that it's easy to fall into that type of bondage when it's environmental, and most of the environment is portraying this ideology of victimization, where the world owes me something and I'm not giving nothing to the world, but then yet the world owes me something. So it was just before education, before sobriety, it was a lot of blaming everyone else. And as an adult, that's what we seek fit. It's still a lot of children that have a age bracket that's beyond 18. And I was one of those children. I never knew how to be a child. I never knew what being a child felt like. I never knew what love and nurture felt like, to the point where the pain, the same way you gravitate towards one thing, you could gravitate towards another. The pain from not having these connecting relationships took me to a place where I didn't want to live anymore. And being able to have them Percocets at my exposure, because I was involved in a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to be in. But also I had got into a situation where I had got pistol whipped, stabbed, and robbed.
Ooh.
And I got the nice
Oh,
little
wow.
wound there. But being in those positions where I did need some type of pain medication because I was stabbed and had stitches, the doctor prescribed me Percocets, and from that point on, it was downhill.
Downhill. So you would say that was your contributing factor to what started you down that road?
Well, my contributing factor was imbalance. I never had balance in my life. I didn't know what balance looked like. I didn't know what healthy options looked like. I didn't even know what a healthy mentality looked like. I was on medication as a child.
Okay.
I was a problem child. I was told that I needed the medication, so I was taking it. But then once I grew out of it as a teenager, I actually resisted it. I said I didn't want it.
Okay.
And then that kind of poured over towards the Percocets and the downward spiral of addiction that came with running from all of the trauma that I've endured as a child and not addressing it.
Okay.
So the moment that I realized that the world didn't owe me anything was the moment that I stopped doing pills, with the expense of two psychiatric wards and two inpatient rehabs. And it was intensive to the point where there was no other option for me. It was either get clean, get sober, or die, or go to jail because I killed someone else. And to have those type of mentalities towards the world, nothing good was going to come out of that.
Okay.
So when I went inside the hospital, I told them, if you don't help me, I'm going to kill myself. And from there, not only did clarity become a part of my everyday trajectory because I wanted it and I needed it and I sought for it, but every step of the way moving forward, I allowed help to help me instead of telling help how to help me, and thought that I knew what it was that needed to happen in regards to allowing people who have dedicated their life to helping people understand what that was entailed, and allowing these people in my life to help me and for me to really gravitate towards that. So from that point on, it went from there to inpatient rehab, to the Community College of Philadelphia, where it saved my life. And not only receiving my associate's in general studies and graduating with high honors and getting a scholarship to my four-year university, but also just graduating my four-year university, 12th for my class, and receiving an 8 semester scholarship to grad school. So
That's
it
what's
is
up.
exciting
That's
to know.
amazing.
Yeah.
What a backstory to now see your victory from all of that you've endured. And I have to say, that was really deep when you said you had to allow help to help you, because I think we as people, that's our problem. We want help, but we want to tell people how to help us.
Right.
Instead of just receiving what we're supposed to receive in the capacity of help. So
Yeah,
now,
that's a big thing though. Help is serious when you can understand um what relationship is about though. It's hard to allow
Mhm.
someone to help you if you don't have healthy relationships in your life, if you don't understand what positive criticism looks like and feels like.
That part.
Um, in order to be comfortable, you have to be uncomfortable. And also a main thing that, most of people don't understand is going against your ideology and your thought process and being able to be open-minded to someone else's. So
Right.
it's all about, for me, being able to understand the fact that I don't know everything, and the fact that I want to be open-minded to other people's opinion, and then I want to be open-minded to how other people think, especially if it makes sense. There's just a standard across the board, and with education, that's what that standard comes with. And before education, I didn't know what that looks like. I didn't know how to put that in a frame. I didn't know how to present it back, and I didn't even know, and didn't care, because I was so defensive of what trauma does to a human spirit and soul. To be traumatized, I didn't know how to accept help for what it was, because I didn't know what it looked like. But there was a program at Community College of Philadelphia called Center for Male Engagement, which is only geared towards African American minority students, which it gives them all of the foundations of um, resources, but also support coaches who look like you and talk like you, who can help you through the educational process of being a first generation college student, which that was one of the criteria of being a part of the program, um, which they teach you the ins and out of college. If I didn't have that program teaching me how to trust men, especially educated Black men who know how, it's all about the how to, the delivery. It's the tie matching your socks for me. It kind of, it kind of,
Yes.
yeah, it kind of put me in perspective to know what positive role models look like, but also what does support look like coming from someone just like me, when all my life I knew someone who looked just like me to hurt me.
Oh, wow.
So for me to build them trust in relationships, it taught me how to trust again. It taught me how to love again, and it taught me how to understand a process that is designed to deteriorate me, not to kind of like confuse me on what it is that I'm already confused about. And with the 9% graduation rate at the Community College of Philadelphia, 9 out of 100 students graduating doesn't look like success for me. So because I gravitated towards those mentalities and those relationships, I was privileged to be in front of true relationship rather than the one that can benefit the college for itself. So those relationships told us and taught us the things that the college wouldn't. So we were able to be equipped with the proper tools and the proper aspects of success and what it looked like to be successful at a college, especially being on a college campus your first time. So with that program, it's called Center for Male Engagement. It's at the Community College of Philadelphia, where it's geared towards African American and Hispanic American men. It gives you the blueprint on how to be successful, especially in the college atmosphere. So without that program, I honestly could say I wouldn't know if my trajectory would have landed me to where I am today.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. And you know what? Because I ran into you and hearing your story, I'm happy that you had that experience. I'm happy that you took a chance on yourself and went to school and went through that program so that you could see the different side of life that you said you never saw. So now that you've graduated, pretty top of your class, what outside of graduate school, what are next for you? What are you looking to do with life?
Well, my passion is I have a beautiful way of presenting my story to the world and selling it back to the people, not in the aspect of monetary, but in the aspect of hope and inspiration.
Okay.
I am honored to be able to obtain the language and the terminology to um, talk about it, which
Mhm.
that's what education done for me. And education also done for me. It taught me, I got my bachelor's in psychology. It taught me how to validate information
Okay.
through research. Um, we're at a big information war. And also, me getting my bachelor's in psychology has allowed me to not only understand what is not seen, but be able to present what is not seen in the aspect of making it understanding or making it um, available to you as far as what they don't want us to see. So what I plan on doing is becoming a cognitive behavioral therapist for children, which
Okay.
I plan on starting my own mental health agency to be able to try to present mental health services on a 911 call. There's already
Oh,
some cities that's already working the program. Um, it's missing in Philadelphia, where if you dial 911, there's no reason why mental health services shouldn't be a part of that initial response of what is needed.
right.
Um, and I think that there is a drastic need for mental health services to be a first response rather than the emergency aspect of what they're presenting. Most police officers do not have the mental capacity, if not the mental capabilities, to understand what mental health looks like. And they already also enter the situation um, with stigmas and connotation of certain things and how they perceive it, which definitely portrays their judgment in being able to de-escalate rather than escalate. So I believe that mental health services should be on every 911 call, and that there should be an agency prompt and ready to mobilize for these services. So as far as getting that off the ground, I'm campaigning for a 2024 independent candidate for president, which I may be taking a back seat in my hospitality profession
Okay.
and start campaigning for this independent party, who I believe is the solution for addressing all of the corruption and the political scandal that is happening with taxpayer dollar, especially in this country being $33 trillion in debt. All of this stuff is going to affect us really, 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 really soon and really, really fast if we don't get serious about who and what we are at war with. There are a lot of things and a lot of evidence pointing towards um, things that aren't conducive to humanity surviving, humanity having healthy options with food.
Mhm.
There's so much going on in the world that the obvious is seen, but I do understand, as far as not being a political person, that the left and the right isn't working. And we can come to agree as working people that everything is on fire,
Mhm.
everything is um, becoming extinct, no matter what it is, whether it's food. They're actually doing a lot of things with GMO and manufacturing of technology for specific foods. All of this stuff partaking in this big umbrella is going to affect taxpayers really soon. So it's not a real understanding of black and white, blue and red, left and right. I honestly believe it's at a pace now where it's us versus them. And if we do not come together as humanity, I believe we're going to be enslaved to the injustices of what control and power are being presented and replicated um, in America, especially with legislation, and also the comparison from America and China being similar. So the infrastructure being built right underneath our feet um, to present these technologies to us. There's a lot of things that we are obvious to, and there's a lot of things that aren't obvious. So I have information that'll be able to help us get to a space where we can come together as one. We can fight for a common cause because we are taxpayers and our taxpayer dollar is being thrown down the drain, especially $33, $34 trillion in debt. to the point where all of this stuff that's in front of us may not be a reality really soon. So for me to have a degree in psychology, which allows me to validate research and understand where research is, but also to see the propaganda on both sides being presented and what's not being presented to the people. There's so much information that is misled, and we don't understand that. I believe if we're able to get the right party in there, which he's the independent candidate, which he's not either or,
Mhm.
And his beliefs and ideologies on what it is that needs to change from a system standpoint. The gentleman is presenting system science as a rebus to the regular political system as we see it. So, as a systems engineer and the inventor of email, which is one of the first dynamic technical systems, he has a blueprint on how to uh, attack and address the swarm, as he would call it, which is all of the systems that are put in place to divide us and oppress us as they are. And to be able to use this platform as an opportunity to uh, present his ideology. His name is Dr. Shiva. So I'm doing shivaforpresident.com. If you go there, you can have information, which is videos where you can donate no money and still get access to the videos, and you can make your own determination on the information that is presented.
Oh, okay. I want to go back to the point of the mental health and being incorporated in the emergency calls, but I'm going to throw it to Andrew only because, you've had some dealings in the police.
So the funny part is like, so I actually do like politics also on a local level. But one, I want to first say though, I'm actually proud of you because not knowing, talking to you right now, I would think that you was like literally like coming from Harvard, coming back to the ghetto to help out, do this, do that, not knowing your backstory to where you can. It's amazing to me that you take, like you said, the education, the words, putting them together. Like right now, you are a very well put together young man. And I'm proud of you too. You need a round of applause for that because, like, people, so seriously, people they fall off the wayside and then like they use the excuses and everything on why they couldn't do this, why they couldn't do that, and it's like you took all that adversity and made yourself who you are today. So definitely, no matter what happens in your life, like you deserve all the utmost respect for that. So
you know what I tell people all the time, brother? I tell people my vulnerability is my greatest asset because my vulnerability is my strength. And it's not for your blaming process. It's for my accountability process.
And what the crazy part with that though is like, especially like with men, we find it hard. I don't say we, because I'm an
hard to be vulnerable.
Person, but people like they find it hard to show emotion or to let that tear fall or whatever. When that's not the case, where the most powerful men are the ones that actually have the emotion but keep it in check. So like you having all these walls up and stuff like that is like having walls up for you in a fortress is not going to help you relate to other people. Right now, all your walls are down, like the moats like drained. You got everybody has access to you, and when you have access to that person, that's raw information that you can't get nowhere else because the walls ain't up. So I mean, I feel you there. But like taking that, but actually like, with the 911 calls, like they are trying to implement things now. Right now, we have regular citizens with no training dispatching to police the situation as they see it by priority 1, 2, or 3 for emergencies. And we are like, that is a broken system. We're trying to fix it. Like we got people like in Philadelphia right now. I was on the phone for the emergency. It took 7 minutes for them to answer. And then once they answer, they have a pre-listed guide of questions that verify which officer I'm going to receive or get dispatched to. And like that has to change because like you said, like life or death situations are 30 seconds away, 15 seconds away, 50. Like everybody can't say, well, a gun's there. Like Friday wants a gun. Like gun found it. Then like you got 9 officers there and there's only 15 officers in your district. Like that's crazy to me. So like having mental health and people that can actually go out there and talk and attest to it or like dissect the situation, that is definitely needed. The problem was the resources, and the problem is going to be the training and people that actually want to do the training. Yep. Yeah, so that's where it is. Because like I mean, like there's people out there like just sitting there doing nothing, and like there's jobs in every field. I drive. I got 4 jobs my damn self, and like when I drive. You say Kensington is crazy to me because I drive by Kensington 2 or 3 in the morning, And when I see all them zombies walking and the police sitting right there and like this, they're leaning half over on tranquilizer. It hurts me because I'm like, this is the middle of the city and they building $700,000 condos right there on Lehigh, right next to this. It baffles me. It baffles me. So when I see that every morning, I'm like, damn, but it does take us, there's one person, I don't like to get into politics, like we're promoting, but like there's a city councilman at large, Jim Harity, like he lives in Kensington and like he makes the money to get out. He says, well, I'm gonna get out. I'll represent these people. This is where I'm gonna be at. I respect the man for that because he didn't leave. He's down there in Kensington trying to help out, doing his best. He has people going down there. So that's amazing. But like, so on another note for that, it's just crazy to me because people, they try to go in that situation and then like you said, like they try to help but don't help. Like you can't help somebody that don't want the help. So like with you, like you said, like you were receptive to the help.
You got to understand, but also I understood the root. I had to address the root before I can deal with any symptom. When you address the root, people get well. When people get well, people don't make money. So when you talk about, when Dr. Shiva talks about the swarm, he talk about anybody who's a part of the matrix and not willing to go against the social norm to make real revolutionary change. So if you address a symptom, and that's why I wanted to, I want to start, I'm going to start my own practice. And that's why I am going to implement mobile therapy as well as a part of my practice, is because when you can do, when you can address the root, then you deal with prevention. When you don't address the root, you deal with intervention. And intervention is a whole system within itself that needs to change. So when I dealt with my root and the root causes of why I got hurt, then I was able to address that aspect. Then I got away from the traumatic experience and started to heal with the aspect of forgiveness. I forgave myself and I forgave my father for never being there. And I only know I forgave my father because I have a man in my life right now who I call that. And he's not my biological father. So to replace what was missing and to have that in front of me now, that's how I know I've truly healed with the aspect of forgiveness. Forgiving him is because I have what wasn't there. I have that now. And I have that with elders as well. So I just believe to address the root causes of things, you can say one thing and do another. What are you actually doing in a retrospect to making the difference? Because politicians since the beginning, since I can remember, have been saying the same old thing. And nothing has changed, especially with the aspect of big metropolitan cities being ran all by Democrats. And then the flip side is the Republican side where we living in, two different worlds. Democrats, we over here, Republicans, we over here. I don't know what to think, what to expect, or understand who's going to come save. But the moment that I wanted to save myself was the moment that I started to equip myself with knowledge, and I started to be truthful to myself, and I started to hold myself accountable. Because when I start to hold myself accountable, there's no other external entity that can tell me anything that I'm not already looking in the mirror and telling myself. So that's the honesty aspect that you have to face. So looking in the mirror and doing that work yourself, it's hard, but it's not impossible. So as long as there's a possibility, for me, the possibility aspect gives me hope and vision to keep fighting for the information, to keep presenting the information, to know that I'm heard, even though my Facebook page is restricted because they don't want me to get the information out that I'm going to present to the world to change the world. So I have to find different ways of eliminating censorship in an aspect of one thing I post gets no views in 6 hours, but the other thing I post gets 70 views in 2 minutes. And I'm like, how does that happen? So for me to want to educate myself more and use that as an opportunity, the mental health aspect of it, the further you get away from anything that has been hurting you or harming you, the easier it becomes. So I'm just excited every day to be able to have ideas that I can put into fruition, to make it make sense to myself, and also to know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world that loves me and that can love me and that will love me and don't even know me. He said
they don't even know me. No, but it's crazy that you say that though, because like my mom, like she has this, we have this whole like thing to where basically like no matter what you're doing, like let's say, regardless of Republicans, Democrats, Independents, like if you as a person do what you need to do, then like your message is going to get to somebody that somebody needs to hear your message, regardless of whatever medium you use. Somebody's going to hear that message, and that message is going to resonate with that person, and then they become the extension you 2.0, 3.0, and like that's how you get along. Because like if people get into bad information and you times that bad information by more bad information, that's a lost cause. But when you got like I mean, I do martial arts, like me, like versus me having 150 students that I'm giving 150% of like fractions of my time to, versus me just taking 10 students, focus on those 10, and those 10 have 10. Now I got 120 perfect students off of 10, versus me trying to be big with it. So like the more people you get to like on an individual basis and building that relationship, and then like you're creating positive energy, raw positive energy for them to go and then do what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I like it. I'm keeping it being.
Right.
Good job, Tish. I like it. I like it.
See, I always come across good people, and like you said,
that's because you're good. So when you're good to people, it makes it easier for other people to be good. When we have this we have this connotation in our mind that someone owes us something, and I'm going to be entitled about what I think I deserve because I think I deserve it. It can all be taken away in the midst of a singer, because most importantly, that energy doesn't lie. The energy reciprocates. So when it believes that you're supposed to have it because you think you're supposed to have it, that entitlement will take it all away. And it's happening around the world with natural catastrophes, with the poisoning of everything that we're dealing with the food, with the water, with the toothpaste, the fluoride, all of the things that all we have to do is open our little laptop and our little phone and read about. And most of the time,
listen, I'm gonna pause you real quick. Me and Mama Tish, we are big on just people don't read no more.
Reading,
and it's like if you want, like the point, like the true scenario, like if I wanted to hide $1 million, I would put it in between pages in a book, because nobody's gonna open it to read it. That's the crazy part. Like people do not read. I'm encouraging you guys to get out there and please read. Encourage yourself, make yourself knowledgeable, educate yourself. Like that's the way.
Read the stuff that's uncomfortable. Read the stuff that I know I find enjoyment in dissecting conspiracy videos, because it's never ending rat hole that people say it's never ending, but there can be an end to it if you know what you're looking for and you find the right stuff to look for. So it's different when you don't know what you're looking for. You don't know how to do research. You don't know how to search. But at what point does a conspiracy theory become a fact?
Truth. Yep.
He said a fact. Real quick, fact.
Because truth is subjective. Truth is not the end game. Truth is a verb, and truth is development. But when we say it's an end game, we think that, and we put a limit onto what we can and cannot accomplish, because of our environmental factors not allowing us to grow. It's bigger than the tank that we're in. If you open your mind to a potential possibility that it could be a possibility, now you're taking the power back from that entity and putting it within yourself, because when you do research and you present it back, facts can care less about anything, especially anything that feels a certain way, because it's a fact.
Right.
So there's so much controversy around disregarding, rather than taking a little bit of this and a little bit of that, which they're going to give you the pieces. They're going to put it in front of you. It's up to you to put it together. Same thing with religion. Why should I just believe one thing when I can have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it fulfills my life to be the best person I can be? Why should I have to be subject to one thing? And all of these systems are designed to oppress our subconscious into believing the smallest things that we need to believe, and not the biggest things, or to maximize the potential possibility. So therefore, that's why I am a believer in possibilities, and I'm a believer in endless possibilities. And I believe that anything that is done can be undone. Nothing is permanent.
Okay.
And once we start to open our mind to these ideologies, then we can look at the conspiracy theory as a way to take these people's foot off of our neck by allowing them to know that we know. And that's really all it is because if they don't put the information out, we don't believe it's true. Why do we have to believe what we see and not use it as an aspect of what could be a potential possibility to know that it's happening? So I'm big on that, and I'm big on validating the facts and the information, because mainstream media is not going to give it to you.
Right.
Mainstream media is not going to tell you the things that TikTok may tell you if you know how to dissect videos. TikTok is going to give you the information and give you a platform that is not uncensored. It's the platform that they're giving to you, and you can make your own determination. And that's why they want to block TikTok.
Wow.
Because if you use it as a search engine and not an entertainment platform, use it as a search engine, you'll get information that Google will not give you.
Right.
Prime example, TikTok France, riots, and then Google them. 2 different information sources.
Oh, wow.
2 different sources of information. So that only allows me to understand is the information I do have in front of me. I have to go search for it. But no one's searching for anything no more. We just letting it come to us. We just think that,
and that's the problem. It's like when you let it come to you in your phone, like whatever pops up, that's what they want you to see.
It's the algorithm.
Like when you start typing something, I'm getting all this stuff. I'm like, I'm not asking for that. Like, what are you giving? Like, no. But then like you see something that catches your eye, like, let me check that out. And now you're off the tangent on what you actually wanted to be on. And life is all about tangents at that point. It's all tangents.
And you got to know what you're looking for as well. The reason why I buy good quality stuff for discounted prices because I know what I'm looking for when I walk in Marshall, and I know how much I'm going to spend for it.
Right.
And I have beautiful stuff, and I don't pay I pay beautiful prices.
Right.
But to go to Raymore and Flanagan and spend $1,700 on the same type of item that I could get for $140 somewhere and make it look better because I'm going to put it together and not let it validate my home.
Okay.
My home is validating it.
That's right.
Understand that. You gotta understand
that's actually so real though, because people like they go shopping. It's like you see the same item on 10 different websites for 10 different prices. I'm like, why? It's the same item, same price. I'm not understanding.
And the item validates, and the item on a deeper psychological aspect, the item validates the person for who they are rather than the person validating the item.
Yes, that one.
I validate the item.
That's right.
Because I put value to it, and now the flip side of that value, my value is going to be different than other people's value. Yeah. What people value is not going to be what I value. However, it's the same end game. So as long as we can follow the money and see where the money's going, what the money's doing, everything else in between is designed to distract us.
Right.
And why you think everybody does what they do when they need to do it for someone else is because we got to figure out where that money comes from. If that grant money going to keep coming in, we got to operate under the parameters of this grant.
Yes.
But if I don't need your money, it's because we grassroots and we starting from the bottom on up and empowering a revolution from the bottom on up for all working people to come together. There's no difference. The only difference is us versus them, taxpayers and people who don't pay taxes. That's the difference right there. So if we can come to an understanding that left and right isn't working at all and address both sides with the tyranny and the facts of what they're doing to control the world, but also create a one world government. Once you start talking those type of languages, then it's different on both ends. From the people don't want to hear it. And also you have, the who you're exposing, the ones you're exposing are the ones that definitely censor you. So it's a real tricky ball game out there. And I know I don't want to get big enough that they come get me because a couple of my people, they really not doing too well right now. Because the information, I'm just saying, the information and my mentors and the people I do follow, I follow for that specific reason is authenticity and censorship. The people that I follow give you exactly what they're supposed to give you, and they're doctors. And they're people with scientific research and the evidence through scientific research. Science, some people think science is subjective, but majority of it is in tune to what needs to happen rather than subjectivity. So I just know without the degree or the credential, the story is the same story. I have to get the credential for it to be respected on a broader scale. However, there's a lot of things that's happening in the world again that are going to affect Americans really soon. So this information is vital. And there is a solution with an independent party. His name is Dr. Shiva Arroyo. He's actually the inventor of email, which is a system within itself, but he has 4 PhDs and is promoting the aspect of system science through systems. I think it's engineering systems course that he's presenting to teach us all how to identify the systems that are in front of us, to know what we're putting into it, and also understand what we're getting out of it. So there's so much understanding in empowering people to know what the politicians don't want us to know, and what corporations are doing to despise all of us. And he's given us a blueprint and given us understanding through holistic medicine as well. He's actually made breakthroughs through Eastern and Western medicine, and also bring them together and understanding the difference between both of them. So he's bringing forth wellness through this presentation that he has. And it's also a website that has all of his work and all of his programming on it, which I would like to leave all of that information for the people. But I also believe this is a solution because it's self-empowering. And any history shows any revolution that's taken place has started with working people, but has started from the bottom on up. So if we don't, then we're the little bit of freedoms that we do have left, the government plans on taking them and controlling them through a central bank digital currency aspect, which is programmable money. The legislation says that it's programmable, which society will start operating like one big food stamp system, where they only get a certain amount of food stamps for food, is the same way they're going to give you a certain amount of tokens to use whatever it is that you own inside your house. And if you don't have no tokens, everything in your house is going to be like an arcade game. You're not going to be able to use it, or your social credit score is going to go down. So it's a lot of things that are in place right now that is going to take us as Americans to be more divided and segregated as we are. But there's also a system and a strategy in place, which I'm actually almost done my system engineering course, which I would be able to present this and teach this course to potential people who want to be a part of this revolution and a part of this movement for change, which his movement is called Truth, Freedom, and Health, which Dr. Shiva is known, and this movement is known throughout the world, which we're known in about 130 countries. So for him to have an open house on Thursday night where you can attend for free and be able to communicate with people all over the world, to see that we all are suffering from the same problems and nothing's changing because nothing's in position to bring us all together. I think that this is a potential solution to what they plan to interrupt and what they plan on doing really soon. So.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Right. That was a lot. Deep.
Yeah. I come with a lot. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to unfold. But if anyone has any questions, or comments about my research, or they want to know more about anything that's going on, they can email me at mluna31@cheney.edu, at wolf.cheney.edu. Again, it's mluna31@wolf.cheney.edu. And also you can look me up on Facebook. It's Mike Luna, MIKE, and my last name is LUNA. Which I have all of the platforms loaded with information ready to present to anyone who is willing to listen.
We'll definitely be providing that information for others to reach out to you if need be. But yeah, that was interesting. A lot, like you said, a lot to unpack in all that you've said. Dr. Shiva, am I saying his name correctly?
Absolutely.
Dr. Shiva sounds like an interesting person. I do believe prior to us having this conversation, you did submit to me some a website, and I did take a look at it. I was just like, wow, pretty interesting. And unfortunately for me, sometimes some of that information does go over my head. So I gotta sit and really
pondering it because of
digest.
my experience on one side, and then getting sober, and then experiencing academia on this side.
Mhm.
A book can't teach what I have. The experience of putting it together and being able to present it back is a gift that very few have, especially with it being unseen. So to assume that someone is doing something without fact is again a conspiracy. But when you put forth the fact and evidence, it might not be the consequence of that conspiracy, but as the conspiracy is moving forward, the pieces are ultimately going to reveal themselves, which there's a lot of things that's happening in America and in the world now where it's revealing a lot of conspiracy, but also there's a lot of whistleblowers with people who are was working for these organizations, and now they're not, which they're coming forward. And to not believe the conspiracy or even question anything else beyond a conspiracy, you're giving all the power back to the people in power. You're giving it right back to them because you're allowing them to do exactly what they want to do without even thinking about a potential possibility of it happening. So I'm big and open-minded to, again, answering questions that you have because the information that I possess and the documents that I have, they speak for themselves. So,
Okay. And if I could say, to go in line with this, I would, and not to discredit the younger generation, but I feel like I don't even know what they call them, Gen X, Gen
yeah.
whatever. This type of conversation, I don't think a large majority of them can have, because it all stems back to something that you said before, and Andrew and myself have said, is to read, to research. If you can't present it to this new generation in like a really entertaining way, that information is lost.
You got 10 seconds to get across. If you can't, they
Yeah.
don't get the information.
Yeah, I know. The devil is in the detail. I get it. I get it.
You got 10 seconds to make it work.
my stats teachers always used to say that the devil's in the detail, and I never understood it until I couldn't get that stat. I couldn't get stats. And then it went from stats, I got it, and then from stats to calculus, it was like, whoa, it's a big difference from understanding specifics, but also.
And then when you had that, you get like my daughter's 12, so I got like literally 12 seconds. It's like, Dad, you got 12 seconds to tell me what you want to tell me and how I'm going to perceive it. And I'm like, all right, ready, set, go. And I hope I get my point across in 12 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the reason why I didn't want to go into school psychology, is because the school is a system that is designed to do exactly what it's doing again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how police don't live in the city, but they take their money and move out the city. And then now the property taxes go to funding the schools outside the city. So really, we're being taken advantage of on all different angles. So every angle we're being taken advantage of. And I don't understand how people are just so easily with it. Like, it's just, we just so easily confined with it, and we have nothing to show for it but a closet full of clothes and some wonderful things that we can dance to. But what are we really doing in a community where we're able to say, this is my own thought, this is my own idea, this is what I'm doing? With anything that's ownership, what do we own that we can present to the world to make it a better place? And I honestly don't see it. And I want to give all the credit to the entrepreneurs and the people who are, running the basketball camps and doing the football camps for the kids. There's more to it than the illusion. Basketball and football is an illusion because it's entertainment and a statistical data that shows most children will not make it to the NBA, majority. So what's the backup plan, young man? And he says football, and I'm a little discredited within my own spirit to say, you got to have a backup plan, young man. Basketball might not be it, but the education aspect has to be it. It's because they're indoctrinating children left and right and can care less about the innocence of a child, now that pedophilia is mainstream, let alone the development and the growth of a child, only because there are more children being born than adults are dying. So because this is the case, We cannot sustain the systems that are in front of us. They put the systems in front of us, but the systems can't sustain the world as we know it. Look at what's happening. And they say it's off climate change, but really it's off of pollution. All of these corporations that are polluting and can care less about putting perspective what that does to the environment. We can't sustain this. We don't have enough resources to sustain, which they're eliminating the resources by replicating artificial resources. And look at what's happening. It's not okay. And it's not, and we are at war at every sense. And I believe if we're not going to fight for the little bit of freedoms that we have left, they are going to take them. And I know they are because I have United Nations documents that are explaining this stuff.
Oh, wow.
So that's where I base my research off of. I go straight to the source. I like the in-between stuff, but if you're a middleman, stay there. Yeah, you got to go straight to the source. You got to know how to get to the source. Also, I'm all that in-between stuff. I want to go straight to the president. Can I go talk to him, please?
It's crazy. So look, so I have an old school philosophy that I follow, and it's funny, but like, so like you're like everybody has that profession, but then like, so I'm like, if you a doctor, yeah, you're my doctor, but who's your doctor? Because that's the doctor I want to go to. Oh, you're a mechanic? All right, well, who's your mechanic? Because that's a mechanic that I want to go to.
Absolutely.
So basically, if you're in that top of your profession, like you're like whoever you're listening to, I'm listening to them too, because evidently, like I said, I don't like middlemen either.
Well, you can't. That's what this country is made off of. And if you understand the middleman, you understand the middleman is being a puppet for the bigger man. And as long as the middleman is in place, the bigger man can always pull the strings and win and do what the bigger man is supposed to do when we the real ones doing the work. And we're not getting credit for it. And we all have unique capabilities to present that work to the world and benefit from it. But because we have this thing called capitalism, there's symptoms of capitalism. There's symptoms of communism. There's all symptoms. No system is a right, robust system unless it's an engineered system, unless it's a system that is put into that, but there's always going to be outputs, and them outputs are designed to deal with the data the way it does. And if we don't understand the inputs and the mechanisms in between, and then the output, that's everything. Yeah. And they understand the dynamics of these systems. They understand the outputs that they're getting, even with COVID. COVID was a test run to see how people going to respond. Now they got it right at your fingertip. This next pandemic that's coming, it's coming. This next pandemic that's coming, it's going to be a response, a mobile response as fast as they want and as scared as they want us. As fast as we mobilize, they know who and who's not going to mobilize as fast, so they know where and where not to put the army.
No, he absolutely. Now that you're definitely right about for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's why they got all these big metropolitan cities got these big old highways. So when they shut it down, and the only reason why America's still going is because everybody got guns. And they can't peacefully take the guns to implement their agenda. So they're trying to figure out a way to peacefully slide it up under us. So if you have a bank account and you're practicing digital currency already, because your money's not in the bank, they don't want you to go get your money out the bank and spend it on the things you need now. So what happens is if you have money in the bank, about 10% of that is actually there. If it's there, depending on the lump sum of it. And if everybody go gets their money out the bank, it's going to collapse. So because the physical money's not there, they're trying to figure out a way to implement the digital currency right before our eyes, which they're talking about microchips and nanotechnology and things that connect the technical aspect to the biological aspect, which there's a lot of evidence pointing towards it, So for these things to all be a potential reality now of what can happen,
right?
If we're not fighting every sense for clarity to change this by uniting each other and coming together, not dividing each other and separating each other with everything that's put in front of us to do what it's doing, I honestly believe that Dr. Shiva, 2024 presidential candidate, independent candidate, I honestly believe that his framework for specific accountability internally for a person empowers you to chase that wellness and fiend for that that knowledge, that you're able to help someone else with it. Because if you're not correct with yourself, you can't be correct for someone else. That's a relationship, a friendship, anything that you're presenting. You know, if you're not replicating or willing to replicate what's being given, vice versa, give what's being given, it's going to be an injustice. It's because you're not giving what you're receiving, and that's just input and output with humanity within itself. So, you know, law of attraction, and, you know, giving more, it's a beautiful understanding when you can do it without expecting anything in return. And that's where my blessings come in. My blessings come in with doing without expecting anything in return. And when I know, next thing I know, I'm in position to receive the blessing, and I don't receive it. And I'm like, wow, only because of my intention. And I can't take back the things that I've done. And I realize what I've done in life is not the most fulfilling prophecy. But what I do understand is that anything that's taken from me is going to be my gift back to society, which I already owe. And anything given to me is the blessing that I need to receive, because I'm given the blessing first. So it's hard to go wrong with that. It's hard to not be of abundance with that type of mentality of humility and gratitude, to not forget where we came from, or not forget where I came from. Because that happens far too often. People get a little bit and forgot the whole bunch that they just got through. Just a little bit. and that's where we have to be careful at. Is because when you mix and mingle with that, you become that.
No, the crazy part is we actually just had this whole community meeting about this, where people in the educational field, they go out there, like my little cousin, she's at Harvard right now. So I'm like, if you're going to Harvard, you're getting your PhD, are you coming back to Philly? She, oh no, I think I might stay up there. I'm like, then you're defeating the whole purpose. You're going up there to get this education. You have to bring that back and help people lift up out of where you came from. It's the thing, and same thing with teachers. Teachers, they come, they get the degrees, they make tenure, and then they move out to the county. I'm like, why? Like, if you're a product like me, I'm at Virginia Beach for a little bit, but I'm a product of Philadelphia. I'm still in Philadelphia trying to make it work. I'm trying to figure it out with them. I'm in the trenches with them. I'm not gonna say, all right, I got my money now, let me move over here to Montgomery County, you know, because the house is bigger, the crime is less, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I'm leaving my people behind. I'm in here with them. Like, the shoes on the corner, I'm here on the corner too. Like, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So like, that's the thing too. Like, people, they need to give back where they came from. Like, you made it out. Like, come back and show people how to make it out too. He's like you said, like, NFL is not for everybody. NBA is not for everybody. That's 1% at the top that possibly make it. Same thing with R&B and like songwriting and stuff like that.
So why sell that? Why sell that dream then? Because now you're prophesizing false hope and a false narrative that is not a reality for most people. So that's where I go. That's because if you partake in it, you are of it. So I rarely watch sports. I'm a baseball. I play softball, recreational softball for my therapy. But as far as the entertainment aspect of what it is, I have documents that are explaining the psychological warfare behind professional sports. So for me to have the evidence of the unseen, but also understand that psychology is of the unseen, and being able to put it only because you cannot correlate a physical illness with a mental illness. You can't understand that someone has a mental illness by physically looking at them. For the most part, when you see co-occurring disorders, which is drug and alcohol addiction on top of undiagnosed mental health disorders, when you see both of them, it's easier to obtain. But if you just see mental health as one, you can't see how somebody's mentally struggling physically. So biologically, so that's the problem with psychology, is that psychology can't pinpoint it. But then from the physical aspect, I believe that there are indicators before that we can learn to help people cope and process their mental health disorders. You know what I mean? So I just believe everybody, the moment they start closing down psych wards, now they put in mental health crises on the street, but also America is one big asylum. Everybody wants to be sedated.
Yeah,
everybody wants to be in it, you know.
Because even from the penal system, like, they closed like 4 state hospitals with mental health patients and we let them out. And then you're incarcerating them when these people don't need to be incarcerated.
So you're criminalizing mental health disorder.
It's crazy and ridiculous. And then now no offense, like some CEOs are okay, but like they're not trained and equipped to feel the mental health to deal with these patients these are not criminals. These are mental health patients being held in an institutional setting. So like that's something we have to dive into also, because like that's not the way. Because like just like the police for that on the street, these officers in the prisons aren't equipped for the mental health that they're dealing with. They're used to criminals and like trying to rehabilitate people. You can't rehabilitating criminals and the mental health understanding is two different avenues, two different branches.
It's different. It's different. But these are the things that aren't talked about. These are the things, especially holistically from the top. The whole system needs to change.
Yes.
And I didn't want to do the school psychology because I didn't want to have to send them children back to the environments that are creating a problem. So like if you go to school, the school most of the time is an scapegoat because I'm hungry and then I go to school and eat. I don't got no food at home.
Right.
Then I have to go to school where all these middle class white women are teaching me how to be a small young black boy, which that doesn't work. And the indoctrination that comes with it, all through the process, I still have to send that child back home to the environment that they're in. So to be able to think that I have the solution when the solution starts at home and it all begins at home. And I believe anything beyond, especially with a single mother, anything beyond one child, you can't provide that child with healthy options.
Absolutely.
That's true. I don't want to get too much off subject though. But actually in Philadelphia, like where I'm at, actually, we got pretty good safe neighborhood. But we actually had a shooting at our rec center where 10 kids got shot. And then so the main thing is they're like, they don't have no activities to do. So then my mom, like she's a committee woman down here, she was like, well, it's not about programming because what programs can we offer at 10:30 at night? That's a home issue. Like, why is your kid out at 10:30 at night? So these are things we got to just, you said it does start at home. And if if the parents are parenting from home and doing it, like we can't do that at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We don't have programs for that at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So like we have to. We have to educate
I don't think there's no programs 10:30. Like what programs 10:30 at night? But what happens is when you take a man away from a child, when you take a grandfather away from a child, an uncle away from a child, those three factors there should be able to implement the same ideology, the same tradition on a small one, to allow that small one to be inspired enough to choose these gentlemen respectfully over that dark energy that's presenting itself every day that wants to take children's innocence from them. So as long as I'm inspired, the love and gentleness that comes from these elders is going to inspire me more than the peer pressure that comes with all of this dark energy on this side, from the music, from the sex, from the preteens, all of the stuff that's happening. So I believe it's all in the house.
Let me throw something out there. You said grandfathers, uncles, and all of that. How can we provide that to children if those same individuals have a mentality that doesn't align with positivity? Because I know we've all seen those males that want to be like the music that they hear. They don't have anything positive going on in their life. They're just like that dark energy that these kids see. How can we find those kind of positive men for these young children, whether it be male or female?
I've always thought about on a smaller scale, starting a Big Brother advocacy program to present the men in society with an opportunity to advocate for the youth by mentoring the youth, by being a big brother to them. And it's just an advocacy program by doing the smaller things with exposure, because it's a lot of kids that haven't been out of the city or off the block that they live on. They don't know nothing but the trauma and the pain, and to see something different might inspire them. So I was more or less, it was real grassroots, and it hasn't taken its course. But starting a Big Brother advocacy program where we have a group of positive men, take their caseload, or take their little brothers, and install things and do things that they don't get to do. So it's really, again, back to replacing the image, what it looks like, and allowing the child to make the decision on where they want to go. Because even if you look at the court aspect, at what point does a child get to an age where they could choose what parent they want to go to? You know what I mean? Because that love is always going to win. Love is unconditional. Love is nurturing. Love is a big old warm hug. You can't deny that. The most traumatized child enjoys those things.
Yep.
A traumatized child does not enjoy being the way they are. They're only programmed to be that way. So they don't know nothing else. So I believe addressing the narrative, creating the narrative, but also addressing it, because the culture is killing us. And I'm not with the culture. I don't listen to rap music. I rarely partake in sports. I don't drink or do drugs. So I'm not in the streets to, perpetuate the same system that is killing me. But also having them uncomfortable conversations and saying the things in the places you need to say things. I'm always going to be the person who talks about this stuff in a barbershop. Where I'm at in a barbershop, no matter, even just somebody on the street, I'm not scared to approach a stranger and talk about what it is that I seem fit to talk about. So it's also having courage to do it. You gotta have courage to face the things that seem scary to you. So, I just think that we have to change the narrative with the entertainment business. All of that stuff is designed to keep us doing what it's doing, and look at what's happening. We don't understand nothing that's happened politically, but I guarantee you, I could sing a rap song, and I bet you that little child knows all the words to that rap song.
Hey, listen, I got this running joke. I was like, you want people to learn anything, put it in the rap song, like the states and the fractions and all that stuff, and they gonna get it right up.
And they learn
it. Because then they want you to believe what they talking about, but can't explain it to you.
Right.
That it doesn't work. And not only did education teach me how to explain it, it taught me why I needed to explain it. Because I can't sit here and allow someone to want to believe what I have to say and can't explain it to someone. So I live by that. If you have an ideology and a belief or something that you want me to think about, if you can explain it to me, I'm so open-minded to it. But on the flip side of ignorance, if you can't explain why you feel the way you feel, or why you're doing yourself a disservice first, because now you're not going to be able to get the energy you need to bypass or get through that. And then you're closing yourself up to the information that you need. You're not getting the energy you need, and then you're not getting the information you need. So on all different levels, we are depriving ourselves by not educating ourselves and not learning about the things we need to learn about. And I only say that because I fall victim to it all the time. I miss the Jordan guy. I like Jordans. Do I need Jordans? I don't. Do I like them? I do. And I was at a point where it was a little problem. Now I put my hands up and said, now that I'm focusing on the problem, and to say that I don't need them, I might want them. And that's just my development. And everybody doesn't develop the way I've developed. However, if I can do it, there should be no excuse for anyone else not to do it. And that should be the blueprint. If it can be done, and if it's being done, what makes you different that you can't do it?
That's my philosophy is if it can be done, it can be learned. No matter what it is. I watch This Old House. I watch like anything that you can pay for, you can do.
You can do. Or anything that's presented to you, you can do. Or even what you think you can't, you can do. Because the person you're paying to do it,
the person that's telling you, they did their job and they did their research to learn it, so they can tell you or teach you or do it. So it can definitely be done.
So it can be done. But also the mind is a powerful thing to waste.
Very true.
And we don't use most of it. And we don't even know that our body can heal ourselves with the right remedies. With the right organic remedies, you can do anything you want for the system that is called your body. And this is what Dr. Shiva is promoting. Is the internal approach to holistic medicine.
Nice.
Which is an Indian, it's an Eastern Indian approach, which I don't know about you, but the Indian culture is gorgeous for me. And I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a beautiful culture.
I love culture in general, because I ain't never had culture. I didn't know what it was to be a part of my heritage. I'm Puerto Rican and don't speak Spanish. So to want to tap into it now and say, you know what? I need me a Spanish woman. I need to marry me someone in my heritage and my culture so I can start to learn the roots, not even just on my own recognizance, but from the person that I choose to, spend the rest of my life with. Maybe that might be an aspect that not only I could keep within mine so I could learn about mine so I could teach people about mine.
Mhm.
How I'm trying to teach me about yours and I don't even know about mine.
That's
So
true.
for that aspect of it, but as far as the educational piece, the knowledge and the wisdom to continuously present that forward, there's so much stuff out there that we don't know. And our mind is a terrible thing to waste. So if you may, please continue to present that information in an aspect that it makes it easier for everyone to want and think about, especially with information, because we're at a war for information right now, and censorship is at an all-time high. And they
Yes.
telling you what they want you to know rather than what you should know. So if we're not questioning everything and trusting nothing, we're
That's
actually out
me.
here just to be
Yeah, I'm
out
one of
here.
the bad people. I don't watch the news because it's the same cycle. And like
For what? Yeah, it's the same
to,
thing.
to actually get news, you have to go outside the news source to actually
You
get
have to
the news.
follow the right people. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to do the
You
right
go,
things to
you gotta
get
go
there.
around.
It's
You
like,
gotta go around the anchor desk. You gotta go around the desk.
so
But
I
real
get
quick,
it.
Mike, we want to ask you a couple of questions real quick, Mike. So like basically one thing basically is what is a key takeaway that you hope people gain from listening to your journey?
That God is real. Um, Believing in something other than yourself. There's a great service in that. Is because what come with being in service is true giving and giving with the intention of not receiving anything in return. That's one of the greatest things that I've learned throughout my journey. But also, when you understand that it needs you and you don't need it, the power within yourself, especially with anything that is consuming you, the power within yourself to flip it and to know that you are a true king and a true queen off of the information that you present, but also the empowerment that you give to others.
Nice.
Nothing more greater. It's no greater feeling than to be given away what was given to me, only because I didn't manufacture it. So why not give it away? Nothing's permanent. It's all temporary. So why not give it away and pay it forward? You'll feel better by doing that. So that's just what I am.
Nice. And another quick question for you, real quick. At what age do you think people should have life figured out?
There's no age that life should be figured out. Because our life, the same way I'm as a giant to an ant, is the same way as an ant is a giant to something else. And understand that I'm small in comparison to this universe. To be maneuvering and operating under the frequency that I do, to know that there's more to elevate and there's more to get to. Knowledge and power is inevitable in the sense that it's never ending, it's never stopping. There's so much more, and to have that type of understanding, I can never stop learning.
That's awesome.
That's my mom's thing. I always read her thing is knowledge is learned. I always put that out there because basically, like, there's no end to it. Like, even though you're an old man, you can still learn something at any age in life. So I appreciate that. Some people, they think they got it figured out, so they don't got it figured out.
Right.
Never got it figured out, bro. It's always something bigger than me. It's always something better than me. Something smoother than me. Smarter than me. And to have that,
it's crazy. It's
nice,
funny because like I'm like that too. Like me, like when I was coming up in school, stuff like that. It was like I've always known. Not saying my place is bad, but like I've always known my place or where I fit in with my family, friends, enemies. Like I've just always known my homeostasis is like my place, and I was always content and cool with my place. I never tried to be like nothing greater than what I already was, nothing less than what I am. What people told me, like I was just me at all times, just me.
Finding your lane and staying in it.
That's it. Listen, I'm the best. Stay in your lane, bro. I'm the best at staying in my. I stay in my bumper lines.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't.
A lot of people don't know how to.
A lot of people don't know how to stay. They don't even know how to create the lane. When you create the lane and you coasting, it's always good to get out that third lane and slide in the middle again.
Yo, listen, man. I was Tesla before Tesla. You hear me?
Yeah, I heard that. I like that.
Oh my goodness. Well, Mike, I have to say it's been a true pleasure speaking with you. I thank you for
having me.
engaging with us and definitely opening our minds to something bigger and greater than there is. And friends, if you're listening, please be sure to connect with Mike on Facebook at Mike Luna, or you can check out the website that we're going to post in the captions for Dr. Shiva. So if you've had fun, be sure that you like, share, and comment, and you can revisit episodes to figure it out everywhere you listen to podcasts. Our hope is that we helped you figure out something today. And until next time, peace and love.
All right, y'all. Be safe.
Thanks, y'all.
Take care.